Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Marvel Monday. So today we're going to talk about episode 2 of the Marvel Daredevil series on Netflix. So spoiler warning, I will give a brief summary of the episode before we get into the analysis, so I'll give away plot points and characters and things like that. It's also recommended that you watch the episode before you watch this video so everything makes a little more sense. Okay, let's get into it. So the episode summary. The episode begins with a young man finding Matt, nearly beaten to death and unconscious in a dump. The episode begins with a young man finding Matt, nearly beaten to death and unconscious in a garbage dumpster outside of an apartment building. He gets carried to a woman's apartment, who goes by the name of Claire, an ER nurse at the Metro General Hospital. Claire quickly treats Matt after he insists on not going to the hospital. After a man claiming to be a police officer knocks on Claire's door and asks if she's seen anything pertaining to a man in a black suit and mask robbing a nearby bodega, Matt uses a fire extinguisher to knock out the fake officer and drags him to the rooftop. He interrogates the man, who reveals himself as a Russian mobster involved with kidnapping the boy Matt was trying to save. After Claire and Matt interrogate the man some more, he finally gives up the location of the boy, and Matt tosses the man off of the rooftop and into the same garbage dumpster he was found in. After an amazing 5-minute one-shot fight scene with Matt against 10 Russians, he rescues the little boy. Another plot that carries throughout the episode is Foggy helping Karen after her whole ordeal in the first episode. Karen confesses that she doesn't want to go back to her apartment because of the damage caused by Daniel Fisher's death and the attack on her. She also says she can't see the good parts of the city anymore and how she's terrified. Foggy decides that they'll stay out all night in hopes of enlightening Karen's spirit. Also, throughout the episode, you see flashbacks of young Matt a few days after the accident with Jack While they're wandering around the streets, they even end up a few blocks away from where Matt and Claire are interrogating the Russian. Also, throughout the episode, you see flashbacks of young Matt a few days after the accident with Jack helping him out. Jack pushes Matt to work hard in school and lets Matt stitch up his bad wounds after a fight. After Jack's mafia employers get him a battle against one of the biggest underground fighters, they say Jack has to go down in the 5th round. Jack initially turns down the offer, but after the man threatened to kill Jack so Matt's left alone, Jack agrees to do the fight. But Jack turns the tables on his employers, wins the fight, and puts the award money in Matt's account. Jack is quickly killed after the fight. Matt hears the fatal gunshot and runs to the crime scene, realizing it was his dad that was murdered. Okay, so let's get into the analysis. Matt also mentions to Claire that she didn't decide to help him out with the Russian on faith, which is an emotional base to justification. So I think that was kind of interesting thing to point out. And then going off of the whole entire Russian interrogation scene with Claire and Matt, Claire is wearing all white, whereas Matt's wearing all black. So black is typically associated with darkness and evil. White is associated with pure and good. It seems pretty, pun intended, black and white, that Claire represents good and Matt represents evil in this scenario. So it also allows Claire to appear unscathed and pure. If something is white, when something is white, you can see anything and everything that gets attached to it or stuck to it. And with black, it's really hard to see what gets attached to it because it's so dark. And another interesting thing I noticed was that after Claire gives Matt the tip about the trigeminal nerve, and one of the nerves right above your eyeball underneath your eyebrow bone right here, is when she points it out, she pulls her finger away and it's all bloody. And so I think that's interesting because she just literally and metaphorically got her hands dirty in this situation, even though she initially didn't want anything to do with it. Playing off more of the good versus evil, black and white thing. Also playing off more of the black and white. Also playing more off of the black means evil and white means good thing. If you look at it from physically from where the Russian is looking at, Matt is standing right in front of him and Claire is standing kind of off behind him. So the Russian can pretty much only see the darkness, which is Matt, but if he looks beyond that, he sees a little bit of good, which is Claire. So I think that's interesting. And then another thing is that when Claire tells Matt about the nerve thing, she steps up. And so she didn't tell Matt to knock it off or stop or this has gone too far. You need to go to police. We need to do something else or I'm done. Instead, she helped him out. I feel like that's interesting because I think maybe what the whole entire show, and particularly this, I think the whole entire show is trying to represent that light could help darkness and darkness could help light. So I feel like that's an interesting concept to play off of. This falls back to the Robin Hood trope with how bad things could mean good things, like stealing from the rich to feed the poor, or beating up criminals to get them to stop what they're doing. And also the same with this episode. There's a lot of good inspirational and thought-provoking quotes. Some of my favorites are, "It ain't how hard you hit the mat, it's how you get up." And another one is, "We're Murdochs. We get hit a lot, but we always get up." A lot of the banting throughout the episode, particularly with Karen and Foggy, is amazing. I love Foggy and Karen together. My little fangirl coming out, I feel like they should be in. I ship them so hard. I feel like they should be together. They're so adorable. Like some of the things that Foggy says is, "You gaze at me lovingly when you think I'm not looking." What? You might. I'm not looking. Just let me live in it. And then, "I dug myself in too deep and I can't get out. Need a hand with that? Please." Ooh, not gonna happen. Another thing I found interesting was when Foggy and Karen are wandering around the city, they end up a few blocks away from where Matt and Karen are They end up a few blocks away from where Matt and Claire are interrogating the Russian, and Foggy screams, "This city will protect us!" And then the camera switches to Matt standing in front of the Russian who's all beaten and bloody. That shows that Matt has and will protect the city and its inhabitants. But it could also mean the city could also reference more than one person. So like the city officials or police officers, firemen, lawyers, doctors, or even just ordinary citizens. And then jumping to the sounds, setting, and lighting of the episode, they make a lot of use of dark backgrounds with a single source of light. A few examples are when Matt is watching one of Jack's fight in the living room, and the living room is dark, so the only source of light is from the television. And then when Matt and Claire are on the roof with the Russian, they can only see through a couple of dim street lights, so everything kind of has this dull yellow glow. And one of my favorite shots throughout the whole entire episode is when Jack is going down the tunnel to go and fight Creel. The tunnel is dark, but then when the doors at the end open to go into the ring, there's this bright white light pours in, and and then he just kind of fades out of focus as he walks out. I just think that was a really cool shot. And then there's one overhead light in the hallway fight scene at the end. It's right above the door where the boy is kept. Also, another nice touch was the red light in the boys' room. Specifically, red is associated with blood and violence, and the fact that Matt had to beat up 10 guys in order to get to the boy, I just feel like that red light was a nice touch. The part of the fight scene where Matt throws the microwave at the guy when he comes up to attack him, I just think that's really funny. I mean, it's totally logical. If you get a microwave thrown at your head, it is going to cause some damage. So here's the mini assignment for you guys this week. What symbolism did you guys see? Did you interpret anything differently from what I did, or did you notice something completely different? Let me know in the comments below. So final thoughts. This is my favorite episode of the whole entire Daredevil series. I like the parallel of seeing how Matt lost his dad as a child, and then how adult Matt rescues the boy after his father was beaten. And it's also interesting because the boy who gets kidnapped also looks around the same age as Matt did when when he lost his dad and he got blind and everything, which is around 9 years old. I also love the scenes with Foggy and Karen. Like I said earlier, I ship them so hard. They need to be together. I love them together. I love them. Foggy also still one of my favorite characters throughout the whole entire series. I love Foggy. Claire is also really amazing. I love Claire. I like that she's not afraid to correct someone even if she barely knows them. She's also not rude about it too. She has a dry sense of humor. And Matt's telling her about the Russian, and he's like, you'll smell him too, like based off of his cologne. He really likes it or whatever. And he's just kind of sitting up and he's like, "You're looking at me like I'm crazy." And she's like, "It seems the appropriate response." When he's trying to find a knife to fight with, he just holds up this tiny paring knife and he's like, "This is it." And she's like, "It's for vegetables, not a knife fight." When she's trying to get him to leave at the very beginning, she's like, "This is my night off. I'm really looking forward to some guy not dying on my couch tonight." And then the hallway fight scene at the end is amazing. It's easily one of my favorite action sequences ever. I like the fact that the camera just kind of stays in the middle of the hallway and it doesn't go down into the rooms and stuff, because you have 11 guys involved with this scene anyway. So I think if you had the camera moving not just up and down the hallway, but into 4 or 5 different rooms, I feel like it would get too hectic and too crazy. We would get kind of confused as to what's going on. I also think it leaves more for interpretation and more for the imagination, because you can't see what's going on in the rooms a lot of the time. You can hear stuff, but you can't see anything. So I feel like that allows you to have some sort of imagination on what's going on. And that's a really cool aspect to have. And also the fact that the whole entire thing was done in one shot without any stitching or anything is just mind-blowing. So anyway, be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, type a comment, and hit that bell notification. That way you get notified every time you post a video. Jack initially turns down the offer, but after and so you can see anything and everything if something is white, he interrogates the man, who reveals himself as a Russian mobster involved with the kidnapping